Hey brothers, I want to tell you about a website called blackmenszone.com. Now, Black Men's Zone is a site that specifically targets black men. It's a place where black men talk about issues that solely affect them. Now, at Black Men's Zone, the topics will range from news to society, sports, technology, business, food and recipes. Some brothers got to cook too. Gaming, and some of your brothers like doing some of that. Health and fitness, got to get your workout on. Music, movies, and many other topics. Now, there's not many forums around these days for black men, and because black men have to create them. Now, this particular website is more of a forum based, something simple, not social media. You can write what you need to write, say what you need to say, get on, get off pretty quick. But if you're interested, brothers, to at least go there, and I want you to check it out, engage in the topics, go to blackmenszone.com, sign up for an account, and get engaged in the conversation. So you remember, about a week or so that the mother of Samaria Rice, had called out Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. Now, I'm getting to a point where we probably need to find some sort of other name to describe the movement of people versus the organization, because it kind of gets blurred together when you say Black Lives Matter, the organization, versus Black Lives Matter, the movement. And to say Black Lives Matter is actually simple, but it's to the point, and that's why people still say it, okay? But unfortunately, this Mzungu has come in and corrupted and got his foot in it. That's why, like I said, Malcolm X told us to never allow them or anybody inside the leadership of any movement that you're trying to fight for against white supremacy. Now, the mother of Breonna Taylor now has come out. Her name is Tamika Palmer. That's her mother's name. She recently come out against Black Lives Matter. This is what Tamika Palmer said on Facebook, the mother of Breonna Taylor. She said, I think it's crazy when people say they've been here since day one. She said, let me be clear. Christopher 2X, the Montgomery family, she said Angie, Sherry, Tawan, and Craig, is the one and only day ones, not to mention Breonna's friends, is in family, but they have never needed recognition. Immediately following is Until Freedom. That's the organization with Tamika Mallory. They say, I never personally dealt with Black Lives Matter Louisville, and personally have found them to be fraud. They say Tamika Scott and another fraud. Now, she's a representative out of Kentucky. She said she was going to push a bill to stop the no-knock warrants, but she called her a fraud too. He said, then there's the people at Injustice Square, aka Breeway, who has been 100 and held it down. But that doesn't go to say everyone down there, but they know who they are, and also never needed recognition. Say, I could walk in a room full of people who claim to be here for Breonna's family who don't even know who I am. He said, I watched y'all raise money. Here we go. I watch y'all raise money on behalf of Breonna's family, who has never done a thing for us, nor have we needed it or asked. So talk about fraud. She says, it's amazing how many people have lost focus. She said, say this before I go. I'm sick of some of y'all, and I was last. Anybody who needs it, I'm with this ish. Enough is enough. So once again, here we go with what we talked about last week. They are using the victims of white supremacy to finesse a bag. Now, could you imagine that? People raising this money in your deceased child's name, and they don't even know who you are, but they trying to get a bag off of the name of your child. And did she not call out Black Lives Matter Louisville and said they was a fraud too? You can't argue with Tamir Rice's mother. You can't argue with Breonna Taylor's mother. You can't at this point. But they're now starting to expose what's been going on and how everybody getting a bag, and none of it is spread out to the families or even to the community at large. Now, she gave credit to local grassroots activists who were there from day one. And then we talked about last week with the Patrice Cullors situation, We said, stop giving money to Black Lives Matter. If you're going to help a victim of white supremacy, you help them directly, or you support the local grassroots activists in that area who has the respect. Because ever since George Floyd, let's talk about that. They got $90 million went to Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. And the revelations about Patrisse Cullors and how she's explaining all on TV, talking about, oh, they haven't paid me since 2019. And, I got this, other ways they not paying me. Let me tell you the game of how they can pay her and not pay her. OK, it would look bad if they giving her millions of dollars. But let's say she wrote a book. Right. Cool. Well, they could buy so many millions of copies of the book. And that's how they can funnel money to her through her book. So it looked like that they just purchasing copies of her book, and then they can just pass it out for free to people. You could actually do that with nonprofits. They can call up their buddies and say, hey, could you give Patrisse a deal? See, it's other ways to pay people without having your hands directly on it. But someone who claims they are a trained Marxist, and listen, black folks should have knew something was wrong when a black person come out telling you they're a trained Marxist. So you trained in the ideology of Karl Marx and Mzungu. You're not trained in the ideology of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Dr. Francis Cress Welsing or Dr. John Henry Clark. You're not trained in their ideologies. You're not trained in the ideology of Malcolm X. You're not trained in the ideology of Neely Fuller or Dr. Claude Anderson. See, I would rather say I'm trained in that ideology from those people. I don't want to be trained from no freaking Karl Marx. That's why black folks should have known something was wrong when she made that statement, and she's proud to say it. I'm a trained Marxist. So who trained you? Because black folks don't train people to be Marxist. You understand what I'm saying? See, what's done in the dark is always going to come out in the light. And that's what's happening. That's why black folks. And then this woman tried to say, oh, it's these right wingers. It's these right wingers that's putting this out. No, a lot of criticism is coming from a lot of black folk. Not Republicans. Yeah, they talking about you. Sure, of course they're going to talk about you. They don't like y'all. That's to be expected. Why you even care? But the fact is, you having too many families who's been victims of white supremacy come out and say y'all are finessing underneath their dead family members' names. Listen what Tamika Palmer says. She says she went to an event. They didn't even know who she was, and they were raising money in her daughter's name. And she says she's never come out and say, please, y'all raise money for me. They never even asked for it. And for sure, they don't need it now. Everybody getting a bag. That's sick that you got to sit up there and get your money off of the death of black people. Same thing with these news organizations. The reason why they're even reporting what happens to black folks? It's not because they care about us. It's because of ratings. Now, recently, I saw those videos from Project Veritas that they're exposing CNN. And the guy has said on there that, fear sells. So when you see them covering all these protests of black folk, that it brings good ratings for them. They don't care about us like that, because that same network are running propaganda talking about black folks is the ones attacking Asians. How is it 1 minute you talking about George Floyd protests, or next minute black folks attacking Asians? It was all a bag. Everybody getting a bag from black folk. And what I always tell black people is, everybody making money off of you, you need to tighten up and make money off of our own culture and our own people. And that's why we need more media, and we need more and more people out here to put out the stories and expose these people. And do you know, which was interesting, now I don't support, Jason Whitlock. I don't support him. But check this out. When he exposed Patrisse Cullors, he got suspended on Twitter. That's interesting. Twitter has literally become a piece of the propaganda wing. That they just removing people for talking about the news. That's really was. It was the news. What I'm saying is, I'm glad this is happening. I'm so glad this is happening. Because black folks, we don't need nobody finessing off of the death of black people. We don't need people coming in and trying to take advantage also of black people's hurt and pain. Trying to come start some war with the government and whatever, instead of doing it on your own. Antifa. Go do it on your own. Why you wait till black folks come out there protesting so you go out there doing your dirt? But, let me know what you think about this story with our sister here. I'm glad it's being called out. I'm so glad. It's time. And I thank God for Samaria Rice and Tamika Palmer for putting it out there and letting them know these people that you see that they walk around here being professional protesters. Every way something happened to black folks, they're there and they're not a lawyer. I mean, Benjamin Crump, you can say that about him, but he's a lawyer. It's totally different with his situation. But these so-called professional protesters, they got famous off of the deaths of black people. Everywhere you go, they're there. Come on now. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store.